Hey there, Danny here. Welcome to my ramblings. Sorry I've been missing the past quite a few days. I had some issue with my shoulder. Didn't know why, but my friend Judy helped me. There's still a bit of a knot in there that you can feel. It's still sore and whatever, but my son and I think that it's from the seatbelt when I'm out working, because I'm not used to having anything rub here because I wasn't able to work more than a few hours at a time. I now can do a little bit more than what I could, which is so nice. It's nice to be back to work. Still in search of a car. But that's not what I all came here to talk to you about. When you're in bed in pain and trying to go through life and in pain, you think a lot. So I'm going to, because it is my ramblings, I'm going to bombard you with my thoughts. So, you see a lot when you're homesick or whatever else. You read a lot, you see a lot, whatever. Whether you watch TV or you read, it doesn't matter. I get, they keep talking about this climate change, but what nobody's talking about, and it really drives me nuts, is all we keep doing is wanting to build more and more. The more pavement, the more cement, the more homes that you build, the less there is of plants and trees and nature that we desperately need, because they turn the carbon dioxide into oxygen. So if we don't have them anymore and we keep pushing and pushing to build all kinds of things, but we're not replacing that nature with other nature, we're screwing ourselves. I get that the climate is changing, but nobody's thought about the fact that, well, maybe they have, but nobody's talking about it, or I haven't seen it. But I know here in Phoenix, in this city, in the winter months, it's outrageous here. It's 60s, 70s every day. And then at night it'll drop down to the 40s. If you're out in the desert, it will get really cold. Why? Because there's no roads, there's no cement, there's no buildings, there's no nothing to keep in that heat from during the day. And think about it. If it's holding in all that heat, what's going to happen to what's above it? It's going to heat it up. Come on. But we want to just blame it on everybody in their cars because, well, we couldn't stop building. That would possibly change our consumeristic society. And nobody who has a politician in their back pants or in their back pockets wants to have to lose making tons of money. It really comes down to our problem with climate change is we're just a greedy bunch of people. We don't care what we don't care that we're killing off nature. I mean, you looked 10 years ago, almost 20 years ago here, and you didn't see coyotes and all that wandering the streets normally. If you did, it was in the middle of the night. It wasn't during the evening when people were out and about. Now you see them everywhere because we've invaded their home. So they have no choice but to come in and interact with us because they don't know what to do. We took away their hunting grounds for our own selfish need because we need a bigger, better house. Because we want to be on the outside of the city. Well, the city, if you're here in Phoenix, I don't know about the other cities, but here in this city, if you move to the outskirts, plan on within 5 years, you're not the outskirts anymore. So I don't know why everybody's so hell-bent on that out here, but whatever. So I just think that it's kind of getting old listening to all this. We've broken records this year. So what? It's not because It's because we have not maintained the nature that is here on this earth, that God put on this earth. Everything that is on this earth, and I'm talking right down to parasites and microbes and everything else, was put here because each thing is important for the ecosystem. We citizens, we humans, are screwing up the ecosystem, and it's causing problems in the atmosphere, and we want to blame it on gas engines. I'm not saying that gas engines are the solution or the best thing, but there are other routes we could take that would be more beneficial to Mother Earth. So I'll leave you with that for now to ponder. I'd like to put a I don't know what I'd like to put. I wanted to do a PSA. Because when I was door dashing, there was a couple of issues that I had, so I wanted to do a PSA. Oh, that's what it was. PSA. If you know you have delivery coming at night, turn on your damn outside light so we can see your house. Your house numbers are only a few shades darker than your house. If you do not have an outside light by it, we cannot see it. Finding it is a pain. Yes, you can zoom in and it'll show you the house and you can count the houses. Yes, that's fine. But how about showing some common courtesy to your delivery driver? 2, if you have a doorbell, clean it. I cannot tell you, I will not ring a doorbell. Even if they want me to ring the doorbell, I will not ring the doorbell if it's supposed to be white and it's any other shade. Because some of these doorbells are disgusting, and I'm not touching them. Not at all. So, you want your doorbell to be rung, make sure you clean your doorbell. It doesn't take but 2 seconds to do it. You don't even have to do it all the time, a couple times a year. I don't think some of these people have ever washed their doorbells. Kind of makes me worried about their doorknobs, but maybe everybody doesn't clean their doorknobs like I do, so I don't know. Anyways, see, I told you I was going to share with you my brain and the crazy thoughts that go through my head when I'm stuck in pain. I want to talk about the fact that I'm here so we can build this wonderful soul tribe. In reality, nothing great happens overnight. And patience is a very important part of finding your true authentic self and loving yourself. And I shared with you in one of the videos about how I was the cause of my problems. Once you start to realize that things really change after that, it's kind of a hard pill to swallow when you first realize that, oh my God, I contributed to this. And you contributed it to it by your reaction. You didn't take into account that you just may be triggered. And they aren't listening, and you aren't listening, and it just spirals down that rabbit hole really quick. So once you start to look at yourself that way, you start to pay attention to how you feel. So when you're talking to somebody and you hear them going into a tirade or venting because they're frustrated with whatever, you don't immediately run in and say anything, because depending on what they're complaining about, probably 85-90% chance this is something that person can change if they really wanted to. They just don't. And if they're complaining about the stuff, I really don't say too much. And I don't say too much because it's not my job to guide them. They're adults. They got to figure this stuff out on their own. Nobody helped me figure it out. I did it on my own. I'm glad to help most people, but if you have a problem and you're asking me to help you with the problem, I will gladly help you. But if you're not asking me outright for help and you just start bitching, I'm gonna listen to you. But I'm not gonna say much else. There's not much else I can say. One, I'm not there. I'm only hearing what you're going through, so I don't know what the dynamics wherever you're complaining about is. And two, I really don't see, unless it's a situation that you're stuck in, which that could be caring for an elderly relative or taking care of children or something. Other than that, you're not stuck in anything. You're not stuck. The minute you decide that you want to change it, you can change it. It's not going to be easy though. And that's why people don't really change and grow, is because it's not easy. My mother, when I was younger, I never understood why she said this to me, but it stuck out a lot. As I got older and realized more about the dynamics between my mother and I realized why she said it. But she had told me when I was younger, she says, Danielle, you know, it's easy to be bad. It's really hard to be good. And I remember as a child thinking, what are you talking about? I had no clue what she was talking about. It's easy to make bad decisions. It's easy to follow through on them because it's instant gratification. Except for there's consequences to all that. And you're not thinking of the consequences. If you're chasing after instant gratification, you're not taking into consideration consequences that can come with that. And every choice that you make, good or bad, there are some sort of consequences with it. And you have to make your decisions literally based off of which consequences you can handle, which ones you're willing to deal with and which ones you're not. And I'm not passing judgment on anybody. This was particularly my own opinion. So I had 2 children when I was married to the first husband. When we divorced, I had decided at that point that I was done having kids. There was more than just the fact of having kids from different men. But I couldn't fathom back then having a few kids and them going to different dads. It was already enough to correlate with one parent, let alone adding in a few more. That to me, that just seemed like more work than it was worth. The main reason that I didn't have more was I did have some complications with my second pregnancy, and they told me that it could get worse with every subsequent pregnancy after that. So I didn't want anything to happen to me while I was raising my kids, and it would have been totally selfish of me to decide that, well, I want another child because I want it, and take the risk of all of my children losing me. To me, that just felt like a selfish decision, and I couldn't do that. I'm not judging anybody that has multiple babies' mamas or babies' daddies. I'm not judging any of that. I'm just saying, for me, it just seemed like more work than it needed to be. But that's how I make my decisions and my choices. I look ahead to what are the consequences going to be. And you can kind of, you're smart enough once you've lived out in the world long enough. You know it could go this way or it could go that way. So you need to decide if either way it goes, you're going to be okay dealing with it. You're going to be okay with it. If you look at that consequence and say, oh, hell no, I would never want to have to pay that price, then don't do your instant gratification that you want to do. It really is that simple. I do want to say something that I find very, very important. They talk about all the woke culture, and everybody's got an opinion on everything, and people are offended by things. Well, what I'm going to say right here, and I don't care who I offend at this point, would you please stop telling your grade school children that when another child of the opposite sex is picking on them, hitting them, or being mean to them, quit telling them that that means that that child likes them. Because what you're putting in that child's head is that violence and meanness are love. That's not love at all. That's actually the opposite of love. But by us telling this to children to explain it away, we're essentially telling them that it's okay. They like you, it's okay. No, it's not okay. We need to stop telling our children that. We need to stop making it sound like it's okay, because honestly, they grow up and they think it's okay. Look at our society. Look at relationships. Look at everything that you see going on. And I'm not saying that any generation is better than the other generation. The truth is I'm so thankful to be living when I'm living, because the truth is people are more open-minded, and people they don't hold the deep, dark family secrets like they used to. I mean, I'm sure there are still people that do it, but I think it's foolish. We can learn from each other. We're supposed to share our testimony of our life with other people. And how are we going to do that if we keep hiding and swallowing it down? This is why we have such a big problem in our society with, in my personal opinion, addictions. We keep things thought as shameful. I get that if you were raped or molested or whatever else, that there's shame. But you should not be ashamed. You didn't do anything wrong. But you're taught that you should feel ashamed. You shouldn't. You should talk about how you overcame it and share your story. Because the truth is, somebody, even if just one person out here got something from you sharing your story, you just changed somebody's world. And think of that on a grand scale. If you just do it for one person and that feeling feels so good, then why wouldn't you keep doing it for other people? Because it's contagious, just like a smile. So, if I see you out and about while I'm door dashing, say hi. I'll gladly stop and chat for a minute or two. I'm usually all smiles, unless it's really hot out. And then I'm just trying to deal with the temperature. And it doesn't help that I'm almost 50 years old. On the 13th, I will be turning 50. And yeah, with that comes the hot flashes. So this heat really isn't doing very well for me. Probably TMI, but whatever. I'm an open book. I got nothing to hide. So feel free to reach out if you need to talk or whatever. Still just waiting for us to build our great, wonderful soul tribe. I know that it's going to be magnificent. And I'm going to work on being on here more often now that I'm actually able to get into a routine with working again. Up and down with this pain is just... I'm ready for pain to be over with. They told me it could last 6 months to a year, though. With the herniated disc in the lower back and the slipped disc in the neck. So hopefully we'll do good. I don't push myself. I have to take a lot of breaks. I can't sit in the car for longer than like 2 hours at a time without being in pain in either my neck or my lower back. So 2 hours and then I take a break. I'm a smoker, so I just pull over and borrowing my friend's truck who doesn't smoke. So I just pull over and have a couple of cigarettes and then go back to work. It gets me out of the truck for a little while. Anyways, I hope that you have a great night. I will see you in a day or two. I will not stay gone as long. I am so sorry that I did. I was dealing with a little bit of pain. And I say a little bit because really, although I was in pain this whole weekend with my shoulder, it still hurts a little bit. But that pain was nowhere near the pain right after the accident. That first week or two was just a nightmare. So that's why I don't say it's big pain. It's a lot of pain, but it's it's not compared to what I've just gone through a few months back. So anyways, have a great night, guys. Love ya. I will talk to you later.